And take a look at the cover of the New York Post today, highlighting those anti-Israel protesters who interrupted the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade. I think they've got it right. Bloody idiots. Kaylee McGhee White joins me now. Kayla, you know, the interesting thing about it, by the way, they stuck their hands with crazy glue to the street that they were walking on. They poured blood over themselves. It's a family event. I mean, come on. And they started out as pro-Palestinian. It's quite clear now that they are anti-Israeli. It's not about being pro-Palestinian. It's about being anti-Israeli, sometimes pro-Hamas, right?
Well, and it's not just anti-Israeli. It's anti-America and ultimately anti-Western civilization. Because you look at some of the T-shirts that they were wearing, it said colonialism, capitalism. Some of the messages that they were writing on Twitter actually said that they intentionally chose the Thanksgiving Day parade because what more appropriate environment to protest colonialism and genocide than a parade celebrating supposedly American colonialism and genocide. So this was very intentional, and this is a result of leftist ideology and the framework that these kids have been brought up in for the past couple of decades, especially on America's campuses.
It shows so much, not only about, as you were talking about, the education part of it, but how probably they're outsiders as well, funding a lot of these groups, a lot of the organizations that are involved in putting them together for these big protests. First of all, how do you survive by going to protests every day? That's kind of the job of some of these people, but it's a lot of questions that need to be answered about the whole movement that's going on right now. I want to also talk about far-left activists fuming at Democrat Senator John Fetterman for his stance on supporting Israel. He was last seen last week waving an Israeli flag around an anti-Israeli protester. Kaylee, it's fascinating how the Democratic Party now is really split from the ideologues on the far left, people like Rashida Tlaib, who are, I would say, even pro-Hamas in their rhetoric, and people like Fetterman, who actually is a progressive on many issues, but decided to side with Israel on this one.
Yeah, and he's not the only one who's facing that choice. Joe Biden also has a decision to make, whether he's going to give in to the far left's demands or whether he's going to stand tall and support Israel still. And it's interesting because you look at the numbers, you look at how many Democrats voted to censor Tlaib in Congress, and it is a very small minority of Democrats who are being vocally anti-Israel. And yet, why are they so loud? They are always the loudest, to the point where young voters who tend to identify as progressive the most are fleeing from the Biden campaign and saying, nope, we don't want to support you anymore because you're too pro-Israel.
Then you have leftists like Bernie Sanders, who is Jewish, by the way, who is more siding, it seems to me, with a squad against Israel than in support of the president's position on Israel.
Right. And we all have a front row seat to watch Frankenstein's monster come for him. And we might laugh about it, except we all have to deal with the consequences of that as well. So Democrats are reaping what they've sown. They've catered to the far left for years. They've even embraced many of their ideas. And this is the result.
All right, Kaylee, great to see you in person. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.